Hello folks, what I'm doing today is showing you how I maintain Cephalotus on a weekly basis. Right now what I'm doing is I'm filling up a 32 ounce container with the quarter teaspoon to 1 gallon dilution of Maxsea fertilizer. And then what I'm going to do is take the liquid organic kelp fertilizer and add 1.6 milliliter using a pipette into the solution. So there's your pipette, and I have the marking near my little pinky. That is the 1.6 milliliter. This entire thing is 2 milliliter. So what I'm doing right now is just putting the solution into the container, and right now I'm just flushing the pipette to clean it and also to thoroughly mix the seaweed fertilizer into the Maxsea solution. And right now, off camera, I am grabbing my TDS meter just to show those who are interested how what the ppm is for the solution. And if we measure the solution right now, it shows a ppm of approximately 213, 214, 215. That's about the concentration that is in the solution that is used to feed the pitchers, and also for a new experiment, adding directly into the water reservoir of the Cephalotus.
Hello folks. So today I want to show you guys some of the things I do to get my Cephalotus to look nice and immaculate. What we have here is a Hummer Giant, but what you'll notice is none of the traps are considered giants. So I don't think I would consider any of the traps giants by any means, because if we look at how big they are, this one is about 6 centimeters, or just barely an inch and a half. So these are not giants. Now, what you do notice is there's a lot of small pitchers, relatively small, but this one is getting a little bit bigger. It is approximately 6 centimeters, almost 2¼ inch. But there's a little bit story behind this one, which I will get to. So I'm experimenting with a theory right now that Cephalotus, if they are starving, they will produce a bunch of small pitchers. And if you notice on this plant, there are barely any regular leaves. So what that's my theory. So I've started to experiment, and over here you will see what the experiment is. What I'm doing is I am adding 20 milliliters of the Maxsea solution that I used to feed into the pitchers into the water. And what I do is for this plant, I am adding 20 milliliter every 2 weeks. So take it off the pot. You can see that. Then I would refill up to the level for this container, which is just underneath the pot, so water is never sitting in the pot. Then what I do is I take the meter, test it to see where it is. Right now it's at 4 parts per million. So I'm going to put in the 20 milliliters of solution, and now I would test the water again, and that raised it to 8. Now the ppm in the water I keep under 15 parts per million, and that's safe. So that's how I am fertilizing the plants. Now I do not recommend anybody fertilizing their plant this way if you're growing it in a pot, because you have no way to test how concentrated or build up of fertilizer that is in the pot. Okay, so there's your warning. Now looking at the plant, now that I just finished feeding it, what I normally do is look at the plant and see if there's anything that needs to be removed. So in this case, I do notice there is a really large pitcher that is totally yellow. I don't know if you can see it, but if I turn it this way, you can clearly see there is a big pitcher in here that has turned yellow and is ready for removal. So what I do is I just come in here, find the pedio. I know my big hands are in the way, and try to trace it back. Try not to damage anything, and then snip. So once I got it, now I remove it, trying not to damage anything alongside. So you can see this is one of the bigger pitchers, and it measures about close to 5.5 centimeters. And normally I would let the pitchers turn this yellowish color, including the pedio that was attached to the back, turning yellow before I remove the pitchers. Because anything that is green down here, you can use to feed the pitcher and know that the area where the digestive glands can still absorb the nutrients into the plant. So now that I have that one pitcher removed, I'm going to go in here and see if there's anything else that needs to be removed, and I do see another brown pitcher that needs to be removed right here. And what I'll do is go in, trace it back, give it a gentle tug. If it doesn't come out, I'm also tracing it back to where it originated, and I see it. So I will gently remove it from the stem, come back and remove it this way. So as you can see, this is not a fast process. Here's another one. And here's another piece. What's really nice is once a big pitcher is removed, now you have all this new room right here for new pitchers to form and fill this space. So we're going to continue looking and see if there's any more that needs to be removed. Now I do spot a yellow leaf down here. Don't know if you can see that. Here you go. So with leaves, first give it a gentle tug. If it comes out, perfect. So now I continue searching and see if there's any more that I need to remove. So I do notice there's a brown, yellowish stem in here. I know it's very difficult for you guys to see. But what I'm doing is I'm always tracing the stem back to its source before I remove it. And now you see this little red thing right here. That is also ready to be removed. Now if I'm not able to trace it back to its stem, I will just leave it. So it's really not an issue. It's not critical, but I will try to remove it because there's a possibility that this stem may be blocking a developing pitcher. So unfortunately I cannot see where this stem goes, but let me see if I can find it from a different angle. Oh, now I see it. Okay. Ah, there you are. So this is a good example why you never try to pull a leaf when you're trying to propagate a plant, because this leaf can be originated anywhere, and if you yank the leaf out thinking you're pulling one leaf, you can take the entire growing point with it. So as you can see, this is not a fast process. And yes, this is what I go through with each and every one of my plants every week. And also this gives me an opportunity to see if there's any powdery mildew, because that is, in my collection, the thing that really makes the plant look really bad. So here's another one. See? Are there any more? Let me see. Okay, looks good. Okay. Alright. I think I spotted one that also needs to be removed. I really wish there was a better camera that I can show this, but do you see this? Right in the middle right there. Yep, there you go. And I'll just see where this leads. Try to trace it back. Aha, there you go. Here's another one. So here I am, just again looking at all the pictures that's growing, and then from the top you can barely make it out. It is this one right here, and it's yellow, as you can see. So I'm gonna try to get it out. Again, tracing it back to its source if possible, and there you go. Another success. So let me keep on looking. Here you can see quite a bit. This one's nice and clear. So this one, there we go. And then so there's another one down here. You can barely make it out. Let me see if I can get some light on that. So as you can see, this one also needs to be removed. And tracing it back to the stem, remove it. There you go. And what else? There's still a little bit, one more down here. There you go. Here's another one. Okay, sometimes there are stems out here. Oh, and by the way, these plants will self-terminate if the pitchers cannot find their way out into the open to develop. So that clears things up pretty well, I think. Maybe take another good look. Oh, not yet. Look at this big sucker. Okay, so I think that's pretty good for this one. I'm already back to the point. Here's another one. Okay, so basically you can get the idea of the weekly maintenance that is done, and using this one as an example. And during this course we have one really big picture and a whole bunch of little stems. So if you're not removing this on a weekly basis, if you have a plant of this size, all of this is going to be crowded in the middle, taking space, and probably blocking future pictures from developing. Okay, so if you have any questions about this one, feel free to put in the comments.